Is it already on?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
I think we should try it.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm one of the gameplay animators of the finals.
And I'm Marcus, and I'm a weapons artist on the central content team for the finals. We're talking about Season 10 and all the new medieval chaos that is being brought to the finals, kind of. With this season of the medieval stuff, I guess art direction was already sketching out some new characters, like what outfits can the players have. One of the outfits or the characters was a jester, and a jester naturally has instruments. And one of the instruments is the lute, which I think is very classical. But that leaves some room for like more dangerous tools, I guess, because the jester also needs to defend himself in the arena, kind of, right? So we were thinking, what other kind of instrument or tool can we give the jester? And one of those tools was wind instrument, I guess. That kind of started the idea, I guess, for some sort of gun that is combined with a wind instrument, I'm thinking. Art direction was kind of giving us the brief on we want a clarinet or a flute of some sort and combine it with a very specific gun, which was the CB01 repeater rifle. So the research phase, right? So this is the first phase where you kind of gobble up all of the information that you kind of can about what you're creating, which is true for all 3D assets, I suppose. The kind of references that you're going to collect is just images. You're going to look at auction sites. You're going to look at like cross-sections of whatever you're creating. So as much detail as you possibly can. You might even look at instructional videos. For the clarinet, it was some teaching lessons about how to play the instrument, just so you kind of get a feel for how it mechanically works, which was a big part of the research part or process. The research phase is just maybe the most important phase. After you're kind of done with your research phase, you start getting into the actual blockout phase of your weapon, which is where you kind of start modeling your asset in rough, big shapes first. You get whatever you're creating into engine as quickly as possible. Get a feel for the weapon. Does it look right? Does the side picture kind of still work? Balance, that something is not advantageous or disadvantageous for the player. Overall, we're just trying to make sure the thing feels fun already in the rough shape.
After 3D gives us the first pass, we have this forth and back of how we want to have the keys for the clarinet gun being put. But at the same time, I also start already thinking of what do we actually want to do with this? What is the intention of this gun that we want to have? As it's for the jester, obviously you want to think about the jester's having fun, so automatically you connect the dots of, okay, it's like some kind of Pied Piper maybe, and I look at this gun, I want to play it, I want to have fun with it, so probably this is also what the player character wants to do. Just like, you have this clarinet here, so why not play it? Now that we have this gun and now that we want to animate it, we have the first-person camera where you have to be especially careful of not blocking anything and at the same time keeping the depth of the weapon, and at the same time our hands obviously are showing our character, so everything that you want to do, every character that you want to show off of the player character is all done with the fingers and with your hands. Once the inspiration part was also kind of finalized, I sat together with Ed, who did the sound, so we could talk about creating the melody and creating the bar, and we wanted to have a rather short bar and then have it extend while still using the shorter animation that I would create for this instrument. In the first step, I mainly focused on putting the finger positions, and for this I pulled up a finger position sheet for the clarinet inside of my program next to the notes that Ed created for me, so I know how to play a clarinet. And you start off with putting those finger positions in, and then you do a check, does it work with your current animation loop? And once that was good, we did the second step of seeing if you extend this melody, does it still work together? Is it still fitting? After this was also a big go and everything was good, you do the final polish of the animation and try to maybe like make it a little bit more pretty, especially like with the intro and the outro of like having those jazzy hands going in to into the loop. And yeah, then at the end you have the final result of our beautiful Reed Requiem, and it's Inspect Animation.
So contestants in the finals are performers. Like, they're trying to get noticed and make an impression and be memorable. So their ridiculous flair and skins that we have in the game, weapons that are also instruments, you know, in this setting, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's not just for their enjoyment, they're trying to get noticed. So I do a lot of the audio for seasonal content on the finals, and this season I saw they're planning a clarinet gun. I thought, oh no, how do we do that? I can't play clarinet. But I do have this thing in my stash, which is called a mini sax. It's basically one plastic pipe with some holes drilled in it, with a mouthpiece and a reed jammed on the end. You can only play one octave, but I thought it was perfect for a makeshift clarinet weapon. But if you're bad like me and you try and play it, it'll probably sound like an angry goose. So I used those squeaks and honks as a layer when you fire the gun. But with a bit of practice, it can produce a sound that's a bit like a clarinet or a saxophone. And for mood reference, Gina sent me this awesome GIF of a Pied Piper just doing this. So I sent her like a single bar of like 6 notes of this. And she animated that meticulously. So that 1 bar of detailed finger animation is a great loop, but it's short. So I did more bars and then other melodies that sort of roughly fit that rhythmic pattern. So you notice this thing doesn't have the signature keys of the clarinet, which would make a noise when you play it. So I used this old piece of flute to record some key presses and mix those in with the melody. Oh, and also used it as a Foley prop for deploy and reload animations and things like that. Yeah, serious business is Foley artistry. A genuine ship's bell. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I definitely had the least technical job on that one, but there's so much like cool content that doing the sound live and kind of scrappily without overthinking it is definitely the way to go. So yeah, Season 10, Fantasy League. I just want to say, there's a lot of epic fantasy stuff that sounds way cooler than me just noodling on instruments that I can't play, but this is what they wanted me to show you, so let's check out the Jester. This was Kim's idea. He wanted a trio of bard tunes. That line is just this overblown plastic whistle. One of them is playing a lute. I don't have a lute, but a mandolin sort of worked in its stead. It sounds like this. And there's one with a boron drum too. But those all started with musical lines and then went over to Kim, who I think had fun with the performance animations. They're so good. But in-game, they actually also sync up with the other musical emotes just by following the same chords that Olaf and Carl used in the original disco set and the mariachi band.
One's animation, of course, is kind of happy with the blockout, and the placement of the keys is right. Everything is just kind of working in animation and movement. That's when you start finalizing the asset, kind of. And you just try to polish up your 3D model, make sure everything just, feels more refined. Then you also get to texturing, making sure the materials kind of look right. And you check back with art direction, I guess. So it all kind of fits into the overall armament that we have in store for Season 10. With all that out of the way, the clarinet gun can kind of enter the arena.